Hey everyone, and welcome back to our Python backend series. So in the first video, we turned Python into a bit of a web server, and we have our code from the previous video here. Now let's take the next step and build a REST API using Flask. So whether you're making a mobile app, web tool, or automation system, APIs are how services can communicate. So by the end, we'll be able to return data with get, accept data with post, and test your API in the browser with tools like Postman or curl. So if you want to, you can grab the code from the previous video with the link below from my GitHub pages. Otherwise, we'll need to make sure that we're importing Flask, importing JSonify, and establishing our application. All right, so let's go ahead and create a get route. The get route essentially listens for requests, and when someone visits the URL, we're going to send back a JSON array of different products. So we can do so by establishing an @app, and then we're going to do the .route, just like we did before. And from here, we're going to be sending them a list of products. So we're going to include our quotation marks, then our /products. So after the products, we're going to add a comma, and then we're going to add our methods. And as I mentioned before, we're going to be using get. So we're going to do methods, even if we're just using one, methods with an S, equals, and then we're going to be using our square brackets here. And then within quotation marks in all caps, we're going to be using get. Wonderful. Let's go ahead and define our function. And we'll call this one get products. Nothing within the parameters, we'll add our colon. And here's where we're going to establish our list of products. So we can have this equal. And because we're using multiple items, let's go ahead and use those square brackets for a list. For each of these products, we're going to be wrapping them within the kind of squiggly braces here, and we're going to be separating them with a comma outside of the squiggly braces. Let's go ahead and add those. Okay, so for our products, we're going to be adding a few different fields. The first one's going to be the ID, so we can kind of number them off. We'll add a name and then maybe a price. So we'll start off by adding quotation marks for the ID, outside of those quotation marks, colon, and then we'll give it a number of 1. Now we're going to separate those values with a comma. Let's go ahead and do a name. Let's have this be keyboard or whatever product you want. We can also include a price. Oops, price. And we can have this be a number. Let's do $49.99. Okay, and if you ever want to save time, especially with like JSONs where you have a lot of the things that are the same, you can just go ahead and copy and paste. So ID2 instead of keyboard, let's do mouse. And then for the price, let's make it a little bit cheaper, maybe $29.99. I think that'd be great. After our square brackets here, once we're happy with our different products, go ahead and return, and we'll use our JSonify, just like we did here. And we're going to be passing this message along. And because we've already kind of established these products and, kind of given them the JSON format here, we're just going to do our JSonify and then pass along our products list here. All right, and something we should also do is we should move our if name all the way down to the bottom. This way we can run our app routes and then we can run our products. Okay, and if we want to test our products here, let's go ahead and run our application. And we can see here that we have our URL. Let's go ahead and copy this. Go back and create another window in our web browser. So if we paste the URL as is, this is kind of like the base one. We get the message, welcome to our web server. But if we add the / and then add products, go ahead, enter, we can see we have the ID, we have the name, keyboard, and like all that information that we did pass through. Oh, and I can see here that I have mouse with a capital O. Go ahead and fix that, but it's also showing, it's displaying this data here exactly the way that we typed it. So we can not only access the kind of base URL, we can also access the products that we have added here. Perfect for organizing. So if we do have like a welcome page, if we have API with weather, wind speed, and we are separating those different things, this is how we can do that. Okay, let's go ahead and pop back into Visual Studio Code here. And let's go ahead and create a post route. So this is going to be used for post requests. That means we can actually send data to our server. So let's go ahead and simulate adding a product and send back a confirmation with the data that was posted. So we'll do an @app.route. And let's go ahead and make this under the products as well. We'll add some other things to our products tab. Oh, forgot the /, don't forget that. We'll add a comma and we'll add our methods again. And this time within our square brackets, we're going to do the post. you can think of get for receiving and post for sending. All right, so let's add a function here. So we'll say def, we'll do add underscore products. We'll create our function here. So we'll say def add product. Don't need anything within those parameters. And we'll first parse any incoming JSON. So we'll have a data, which will equal the request dot get underscore JSON, empty brackets there. Then we'll have our new underscore product, which will equal, we'll add our squiggly braces for our JSON. Now let's go ahead and add an ID and make sure we're using the capitalization and spelling the exact same that we've done in our previous JSON. And let's make this one number 3. We can then do the name for the product here. And for this, we're going to do the data.get, and then we're going to be grabbing that name value. So just something to note with the ID, this is something that usually comes from a database. And for the price, we're also going to have this be the data.get and the price. All right, after we're happy with our JSON, we have our squiggly brackets. Let's go ahead and return again, and we'll do the jsonify. And then this is where we're going to be adding a message that the product has been added. So we'll add our squiggly braces. We'll say message, and this will say product added, comma, product. And then we can establish what this is, which is the new underscore product. We'll then add a comma outside of the squiggly and the normal bracket, and we'll put 201. So why are we using this 201 here? Well, essentially we're telling Flask to return that JSON data as the response body, and we're setting the HTTP status code 201, which represents created. So essentially that's like a new resource has been created. It's used specifically for post requests when you're adding something like a new user account, a blog post, or a product. If you know HTTP, you might be thinking, well, why don't we just use number 200, which means okay. We can use that, but it doesn't tell the client or developer tools or tests what kind of success that we have. 201 just kind of helps APIs clearly communicate, hey, this request didn't just succeed, it created something new. Okay, and let's make sure that we have our if name at the bottom here. Alrighty, and we're pretty much good to go. The only thing is, you'll notice we have this little squiggly line under request. Let's go ahead and also add this to our import at the top here. After the JSONify, let's also include request. And that should take care of that error. So there's a couple different ways that you can kind of test adding this to your program. I'm going to show you the curl version as well as the Postman version. So let's go ahead and run our application. Alrighty, so we're going to need this HTTP URL. So what I would do is I'd open up Terminal on Mac or CMD on Windows. So I'm going to do Terminal since I'm on my Mac. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be establishing something with curl. We're going to do -x, and this -x is going to allow us to specify what kind of request we want to make and where we want to make it. So I'm going to do post in all caps. And then for the URL, I'm actually going to copy and paste our HTTP here. So back to terminal, Command V, and then because we're adding it to the products, as we can see here with our post, where are we putting this? In the /products. And then I'm going to do space /. I'm going to go to the next line here, and we're going to then do -H. And this is where we can specify our content type. So since we're sending a JSON, let's go ahead and do content -type. And we're going to do a :, application /JSON. We're going to go ahead and close off our string there. Add another space and /. On the next line, we're going to do -D, which represents the actual data that we are sending along. So we're going to add an apostrophe here, add our squiggly brace, and this is where we're going to be filling out the JSON data. Now notice we already have an ID here, so we just need to pass through the name and the price. So let's go ahead and establish a name, add a :, and let's go ahead and do headphones, comma, close off our string, comma, and then we'll add a price. And let's do 199. All right, we'll close off our squiggly bracket, add our apostrophe, and let's go ahead and hit return. We can see that we have a message that has been added. So we can see here we have our response, message product has been added, and we can now see the API response with the correct project added. Just as a note, if you're on Windows and you have issues running Flask, you can try out using just python app.py. So you can either download Postman from the website here. You can sign up for free, download it, but I also like to actually just use the Visual Studio Code extension for Postman. Let's go ahead and search for Postman. Now this version is a little bit more limited, so if you want to do advanced things, definitely go ahead and install the actual client, but since we're keeping it pretty simple today, let's go ahead and run Postman. You will need to sign in with your free account. Okay, so either in the application or the extension, let's go ahead and create a new HTTP request. We're going to change this from get to be post. And for the URL, we're going to be using our HTTP here, /products. Go to the body tab here. We're going to select raw, and then instead of text, we're going to do JSON. Okay, so let's go ahead and send our request. So we should be able to just do it like so. We're going to have our name. We'll do headphones again. We'll add a comma to separate them, and then we also need a price. Be a number. Let's do $99.99, and then let's go ahead and send this off. We can see here we did get our 201. Okay, we can't really see the response, but we know it's a good response because it is 201. Maybe there's a test result. I don't know. So we should be good to go. If you ever get a 415 error, it just means Flask doesn't understand what you've sent. You can also usually kind of hover over this status here, and it'll usually tell you what the response is. So 201 has been fulfilled and created the new resources. As a little bonus, if we actually want to see the products that we've added on our little basic web server, we're going to have to make a couple adjustments. So we're going to take our products here, and instead we're going to define these as a global variable. So let's go ahead and add these after our Flask here. Make sure that we fix our indentation. We can keep our get products function as is, because it's just going to essentially return the current product list. Then what we'll do is, before our return JSONify down here, we're going to go ahead and add a products. So we're going to reference that global variable .append, which we use to add things to a list. And then we're going to add the new underscore product here. Everything else should remain the same. I also want to just show you that if you are adding things with an ID, you can also do this instead of just assigning it a static number by using the len products. And then we'll do +1. And this is going to allow us to dynamically assign a new ID. Make sure we add our comma afterwards. Okay, well, let's go ahead and run our Python file. So I'm going to select Postman on the left side of the screen, do a new HTTP request. Let's go ahead and put in our URL again. /products. Oh, it remembers it from last time. Body, raw, JSON. Go ahead and send that off. Oh, make sure you change it to be post, not get. Okay, let's send it. There you go. That's the 201 we were looking for. Let's open up a new web browser. Go ahead and navigate to our products here. And we can see that we have indeed added the headphones in. So if you do want to kind of see this in real time, that's a little bonus section for you. And congratulations, you have just built a real REST API that can return product data with get and accept and process new data with post. So in the next video, we'll add a database to store and retrieve our data. That's where the power of backend really starts to kick in. So dream big, code bigger, and we'll see you in the next one.